Elizabeth's Whining About Movies, episode 25.
25?
Can you believe we made it through 25 episodes?
That's crazy.
Is it crazy?
Yeah.
What do you think about it being our 25th episode? Really, I think this movie should have been our 30th movie if I was really thinking, but...
Why? What difference does it make?
What do you mean, what difference does it make?
I mean, 25 is pretty significant, too.
Yeah, but 30, Logan's Run, 30...
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true.
I know, I didn't think about that.
Oh, my
Just
goodness.
like apparently I left Tobe Hooper as the director. I gotta fix that.
What's with you today?
I'll take the... yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you're a little off.
I'm a little... No, I'm not. Well, there was a gun battle on our street.
Yeah.
And a fatality. A cop was shot, and a guy was killed just hundreds of feet from our front door.
Yep. And our street is completely blocked off.
It was like heat.
It was crazy.
Crazy.
Seriously crazy.
And we live in a nice Pasadena neighborhood.
Yeah, we do.
Dead people on the streets.
He was like, they were chasing him, and he ended up on our street.
And he shot a cop in the leg, and then they blew him away.
They did. They killed him.
They blew him away. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. Well,
No.
and kind of in a way we are. We're
Yeah.
here to talk about future policemen.
Right.
Also gunning people down
Yes.
in, well, the proverbial streets
Yep.
of the Dome City.
They are.
But first we have to have some wine. And tonight we're
Yes,
having we're having a delightful cab sauv that we've actually had before. I'm drawn to this because my production
Well, no,
company...
we've had this brand, but the Pinot.
Oh, yeah, the
This
Pinot.
is the first time we're having the
Oh,
cab.
this is the Cab Sauv, and it is it's Technique. My production company is Ludovico Technique, so we've got Technique Cab Sauv today.
What's your technique?
Ladies first.
There you go.
I practice that in all things. You know that. You know that.
Anyway.
Okay, so we're going to try this. Can't believe I didn't change the director's name. I'm horrified. Cheers to Michael Anderson's 1976 science fiction opus based on the novel by William F. Nolan and George Clayton Johnson that I believe was published in 1967. Logan's Run. Cheers to Logan's
Run.
Starring Michael York, Jenny Agutter,
And you know
Richard
who else
Jordan,
is in here?
Farrah Fawcett
Farrah
Majors,
Fawcett.
Roscoe Lee Brown as Box, the robot.
Yeah, well.
This movie means a lot to me over the years. I saw this movie when I was 9 years old. It left an incredible impression on me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a movie that I carried with me throughout my life. It meant a lot. When I was approaching my 30th birthday.
I know you even put a reference in your movie.
There's a whole scene.
Yep.
A whole scene. There's references and a scene. And a dream sequence, yes. So you had not seen this movie before?
Mm-mm.
You hadn't seen it? You hadn't caught up with it? Had you seen
Nope.
the TV series that was based on this movie?
Nope.
With Donald Moffat as Rem, the
Nope.
android?
Did not see it.
Did you know that there were 2 sequel books written?
No.
Comics? Yeah.
I did not know.
Look at this. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
I've crushed things fell. I haven't even had much to drink. Look at
The
this.
Stormtrooper.
He's a clone trooper, but look at this. There's the sequel book that came out in 1977. I caught Obi-Wan Kenobi, see?
Oh, see, at least you caught him.
I hope that didn't break, because I love that figure.
He looks fine, although he could go in the hospital with...
Yeah, no, come on. We're losing sight of things. No, do not talk about, it's terrible.
Is this the hospital right
Yeah,
here?
it's the hospital. It's the action figure hospital. So, what did you think this movie, tell us what this movie's about.
Sorry, I'm still laughing about James Bond.
Don't laugh about James Bond.
So, yeah, this movie. So it starts off with this guy looking at babies, tapping on the window, trying to get the baby to wake up. And these babies have these crystals embedded in their palms. And he's trying to wake up the baby.
That's attached to the main life clock of the city.
Right, but you don't know that at this point.
No.
And then, well, yeah, you think, oh, why is that baby holding a crystal? It's a choking hazard. It's going to die. But anyway, his friend shows up and he's like, what are you doing in the nursery? And he's like, oh, I came to see Logan 6. Don't you come and see Francis 8? And he's like, no, I've never been in the nursery. And so then what happens?
Well, you didn't say that the movie begins with a little card that explains that there's a great catastrophe, And there's this long, sweeping miniature shot of an unconvincing miniature city, let's face it. I loved it when I was 9, when I saw this theater on the giant screen at the John Dance Theater in Bellevue, Washington. But everyone lives in a domed city after some kind of unnamed catastrophe. Whether it's a disease, a nuclear holocaust, we don't really know. But all anybody does is live in a perfect world of total pleasure. But there's just one catch, as the ad line says. And what is that catch?
Yes, the catch is when you turn 30, you have to be regenerated. Regenerated.
You have to be renewed.
Oh, renewed, whatever.
Yeah. No, it's not whatever.
It's
renewed. You have to be renewed. When you turn 30, you go on the fiery ritual of carousel.
Right.
In the hopes that you'll be
regenerated.
Renewed. Not, they never say the word regenerated in this movie, not once.
Maybe.
Renewed. I've seen this movie 100 times. I know all the lines of dialogue. It's renewed.
Maybe you're right, but I don't know. Often you get scenes out of order and confuse me, so I'll look it up. Anyway, so then they show a scene of this.
They go to carousel.
Carousel renewal.
Logan and France, and it's a nightly event because people have birthdays year round.
Right, it's a nightly event, and
it's in a big arena where hundreds of people flock.
Yeah, so they're all going in to watch this renewal, and
the fiery ritual of carousel in the hopes you'll be renewed.
Right. In the hopes that you'll be renewed.
So what did you think of the carousel sequence? I mean, what did you think of this whole... Were you buying into this future world?
I mean, I was just watching at that point.
Okay, well, what did you think? So as this unfolds, tell us what happens.
So everyone gathers in the carousel, and they start the ritual, and these people come out, and they're wearing these white cloaks. And then they take their hoods off, and they're wearing these white, they look like hockey masks. And everyone's like, oh! And then...
And they got leotards with flames on them.
Yeah, and everyone's oohing and eyeing like, oh my goodness, like they'd never seen it before, but they see it every night. So that was my first, I was like, what? That's weird.
Yeah, but everybody's, you're going to see your friends, and you're going to see, so it's a ritual. It's not like everybody shows up.
But they were surprised by the masks.
No, it's part of the ritual. They get excited, but keep going.
Yeah, no, they were like, oh! Yeah.
And then what happens?
That was weird. Okay, so then the ritual begins, and they start floating up to the ceiling, and then when they get up high enough, they get zapped.
They burst into flames.
Right. It looks more like, those fly swatters that are electric.
Right. These are human fly swatters.
Yeah. So they get electrocuted, and then you don't know, where does their body go?
You don't know. You never know.
They don't show any of that.
They don't.
So, then,
Logan gets a call during the carousel.
Oh, that's right. He gets a call that there's a runner. And Logan is called a Sandman.
Mm-hmm.
And his job is to get the runners. Either catch them or kill them.
No, to terminate.
To kill them.
His job is to terminate runners.
Right.
People that reject the fiery ritual of
Who
carousel.
don't want to die.
They don't want to be renewed. They don't want to
die. But they know
die.
the truth. And the truth is... They don't want to die.
Do they all know the truth, though, or do they just get scared?
The runners know. Because why would you run if you thought you were being renewed?
It's probably... That's a good point.
You wouldn't run.
And so what happens? Logan and Francis do what?
So they go after this guy, and they are kind of playing with him like they're hunting an animal.
So they enjoy their job.
Yeah, they're having fun. And then finally, the guy freaks out and jumps over a balcony. And then they're like, come clean this up. And this hovercraft thing comes and puts acid on the body. And it completely disintegrates and disappears.
Not a trace left of the runner.
Gone.
Wiped clean. Although before they do that, Logan does take any belongings that the runner has.
Right.
And this time he takes a few belongings.
He takes some stuff.
And then what happens?
In his pocket. Okay, and then they check in at headquarters.
In the book, you'd find out it's DS headquarters, meaning deep sleep headquarters.
Oh. Okay, so they go to headquarters, and what happens is they have to put whatever they have gleaned off of these victims onto this detection thing, and it
the central computer that runs the city.
Yeah, Hallie, because she's female.
Hallie.
Hallie.
I like that, Hallie.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
So Hallie scans the items.
And Francis delivers his stuff, no problem.
Right. So she scans the things, they disappear, and she identifies him, and he leaves. He goes to the spa. And he's like, come on, Logan, let's go. So Logan goes in to deposit his things. He just deposited his finds. And she's like, oh, come over here and sit in this chair so I can interrogate you. So he goes over, he sits in a chair.
Something is out of the ordinary.
Yes, right. He sits in the chair, and then he has to put his hand on the arm, and she identifies him, and then she's like questioning him, like, what is this object? And he's like, I don't know.
Oh, she knows what that object
Right.
is, but she asks him if
Right.
he's seen the object.
What is this object? He's like, I don't know.
And what object is it?
It's an Ankh.
It's an Ankh, an Egyptian Ankh.
And he's like, I don't know what it is. And she's like, this is called an Ankh. And then she's like, do you know what else it represents? And he's like, no. And she's like, this represents sanctuary. This has to do with the runners.
It's a pre-catastrophe code word.
It's a code word.
Meaning a place of safety.
Right. And then she's like, okay, so your mission now.
No, but then she tells him something that's incredibly shocking to him.
Oh, yeah. She tells him that there is no renewal.
No, she doesn't say that. She says that there's over 1,000 unaccounted for runners.
Oh, right. And he's shocked by that.
You can't believe it.
Right.
And then he says, wait a minute. And he starts to draw conclusions in his own mind. And he's like, well, what about the people that renewed and all that? And she doesn't answer.
Right. And so then he knows, like, there's no renewal. They just die.
Well, he assumes or something. But then she gives him a mission.
She does. She's like, okay, now you need to go and find this sanctuary outside and destroy it.
And destroy it. So all these unaccounted runners are taken care of.
Right. And then she takes away his 4 years. He had 4 years left.
She performs the retrogram.
I would have been so pissed. I think he is kind of pissed, but he doesn't know how to articulate
and that
it.
leaves we should mention that every person in this society has a palm flower.
The crystal.
Because you're either a yellow, a green, or a red.
Red. Yeah.
And
And she made his red, flashing red, which means...
He's got a day left, basically.
Right.
And she gives him a mission, so...
Okay, so he's freaked out by this. Wait a second. We skipped a scene.
We did skip a scene where he meets Jessica.
Yeah, he met Jessica before.
That's after, yes, he met Jessica.
Oh my God. Okay, so before this all happens, he's in his apartment and he turns on his
Tinder.
And he
His future
swipes
Tinder.
and it's a dude and he swipes again and it's Jessica.
People materialize and because he's a Sandman, he can just call people up.
That's right.
You don't know if regular people get this. Maybe it's only a Sandman thing.
No, I think they all get it.
Well, she does say she was on the circuit.
Yeah, right, because she's shocked that she ended up with a Sandman. And then she's like, oh, no, I don't want to make it with you.
Yeah, this is after they kill the runner, but they go in the next morning to be debriefed.
Right.
So it's after they kill the runner.
After they kill the runner, but before Hallie interrogates him.
And he meets Jessica.
He meets Jessica.
And she's beautiful, but she doesn't want to be on the circuit.
She's beautiful, half naked, but she's like, I changed my mind. I don't want to have sex with you.
But they have a conversation about what?
But then she starts asking him questions because he's a Sandman. And she starts putting in his head, like, are you sure people are getting renewed? And so he's like, what do you mean?
And she says, you kill runners. And he says, kill? Why did you use that word?
Yeah, he's like, I've never killed anyone in my life.
Sandmen terminate runners.
Right.
That's what he says.
But she gets him thinking. And so he's, like, mulling all this over.
But then Francis walks in with two Bettys and the sex gas. And he throws the balls up in the air. They explode and fills the room with sex gas. Yeah, it's sex drugs.
It's
sex gas.
It's
like future ecstasy, but
Ecstasy.
instead of in pill form, it's in
It's
vapor.
ecstasy.
It's in vapor form, yeah. So they take ecstasy, and Jessica takes off.
She's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, she leaves, and then Logan's.
Oh, and to mention, she had a cool necklace that had an interesting charm on it.
She also was wearing an ankh.
She was wearing an ankh. Okay, so next day he goes and checks in. Hallie interrogates him, tells him his mission, and
Well, then he's sent on this mission, and he's lost. And then he goes has a conversation with Francis, and he says, "Have you ever seen anyone renewed?"
right.
Because
And
he's freaked out.
Francis is black and white. There is no gray. He cannot even wrap his mind. He cannot see the truth, and he just refuses to even go there.
He does not question the society in which he
Nope.
lives in.
Nope.
It works for him.
Yeah.
He gets to take home his honeys
Right.
and has that vapor ecstasy.
Right.
And and he gets his screamers. He says, "I want my screamer
where's
back.
my screamer?
Where's my screamer?" So Logan, in the meantime, now has a mission, but he's also a very dedicated Sandman. He
is.
might be questioning.
Well, he is, but he's only starting to question. So of
Well,
course.
no, he
he's
was
so-
questioning before. That's why he was at nursery.
It's true.
So he's a guy he's open to new ideas. He doesn't quite.
He's a thinker. He's a smart guy.
He is a thinker, which is interesting because in the book, the thinker is the name of the computer.
Hallie is thinker.
Is Thinker, or actually, there's another character named Thinker. Anyway, I
anyway.
can't get off in the book because the book's very different than the movie.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, he's a smart guy. He's really starting to think about these things and wonder, like, what is this life about?
But now he has a mission that he's on the clock. He's
Yes.
got like a day to
He's
figure
got a
this
day
shit out.
now. And he kept asking Hallie, like, am I going to get my 4 years back when I come back from this mission? And she wouldn't answer. And I think that really pushed him, like, to...
Well, it's because otherwise he's going to be a runner and they're going to hunt him.
I was like, what the...
So the Hallie really lit a fire under his ass. But now he knows. He knows that he took an ankh off the dead runner, and he remembers that Jessica also
Right.
has an ankh.
Yep.
So that's his way in. He's like, aha.
Yes, aha.
And he uses his position as a Sandman to find out where Jessica lives.
He does.
And he goes to see her.
He goes to see her, and,
Which people now would call creepy cyber stalking, but he's a Sandman, so he can get
didn't
away
he
with it.
summon her or something? Or he went to see her?
No, I think he went to see her. Didn't he?
Anyway, he meets up with her. She's like, what do you want? And she doesn't trust him at all. He's like,
He reveals.
He's like, what is this sanctuary? And she's like taken aback because it's a secret thing that nobody knows about. And he's like, no, like, I'm a runner now. See, I'm gonna run.
And he knows that because there's two Ankhs, there's got to be a clandestine organization out there in the
Plus,
future.
Hallie told him that there's a sanctuary that these runners are going to, and that there were 1,058 people that
Something like that, yeah.
were gone. So he convinces her to give him more information.
But she's not really convinced either.
She's scared because he is a Sandman, and she does not want to give away her people.
Right.
Right?
So she goes to see her people to find out what they think.
She meets up with her people.
And he follows her.
He follows her, and she's talking to her people, and her people are like, no, we don't trust this guy, and you need to lure him over here so we can kill him.
Yep, that's what they say.
Yeah. Because he's going to ruin everything. He's going to ruin everything for everyone.
And she agrees to that.
She does.
She agrees to that. She's like, all
'Cause
right.
she didn't trust him. She likes him, but she didn't trust him.
Right.
Okay, so then what?
Well, then she's taking him to meet these people. She's taking him basically to be killed.
Right.
And then he gets a call.
Yes, he gets a call to go to Cathedral to deal with the Cubs.
Well, there's a
which
runner.
are-
There's a runner in Cathedral.
Oh, yeah. And they have this place
Where all the juvenile delinquents are put.
where all these poor kids, the smart kids, who can think for themselves, are put in this rundown building.
Right. The malcontents or the violent kids.
Themselves.
To raise themselves, yeah.
And so they go there, and she wants to go with him, so she goes with him. And they find the runner amongst these kids, and he doesn't kill her. And he shows her the ankh, and she has no idea what the hell he's talking about.
She's clearly not part of their runner network.
Right. Right. So he lets her go, and he's like, if ever anyone comes after you, he gives her like this
blind gas.
Smoke bomb
Yeah,
or something.
blind gas.
And, but his friend, Francis, Mr. Black and White, follows them.
For no other reason than he thinks he's going to help Logan. Like,
Right.
Cathedral could be rough. They have another Sandman that got cut up there the day before.
Right, because these kids have knives and they like to, like...
So he just thinks, okay, I'm going to go help my friend. And he sees Logan let a runner go.
He sees him do it.
With his best friend. This shakes the pillars of his belief.
Yeah, Mr. Black and White, he can't take it.
He doesn't understand. He thinks that he's been ensorcelled by, you know, this hot girl that's with him.
Yeah, he just doesn't even understand.
He has no idea. All he
No.
knows is that Logan let a runner go, which is like sacrilege.
Mind-blowing to him. He doesn't get it at all. So he kills the girl, the runner girl, and
Logan can't tell Francis he's on an undercover mission for Hallie.
yeah, he doesn't tell.
So he's working for the state. Logan is working for the state. And by the way, he's really working for the state.
Right.
He's not like, just because Jessica's hot, like, oh, I'm going to shirk my mission and fall in love with this girl. No, he is completely immersed in undercover operations.
Right. He's also questioning, like, at that point, after that scene, you're wondering, like, is he really trying to escape, or is he really trying to fulfill his mission? I don't know.
Well, you thought that.
I did. I thought that. I was like, could go either way.
Well, that's because, you know, nowadays you'd think that. It wouldn't be so cut and dried.
Oh, really?
Well, no, and now that this movie was made, you know, it came out in 19...
That's true. Everyone followed the rules.
It's 44 years old, so, you know, we're a little bit more dramatically sophisticated, and the way this movie is set up, you know...
Yeah, but the smart ones always question the system.
He is... I guess you're right.
He's a smart one, and even back then, and especially back then in the 70s...
But he's still on
There was a lot of questioning of the system.
That's true.
And a lot of... Yeah.
Absolutely, you're 100% correct.
So, you just didn't know.
Nope, you're right. You're right. I will give that up to you.
Okay, so, then what happens?
Well, then Jessica has now seen Logan let a runner go. So she...
Right, she starts trusting him.
And then when they leave Cathedral, she goes, oh, we forgot something. Logan had found out earlier that the runner they killed in the beginning that he took the Ankh off of had a face change.
Right.
At the New You shop. I think New You like 483 or something. And so when they're leaving Cathedral, they're still sizing each other up, and Logan says, I'm going to go have my face change. And she goes, but no one's going to do that on your last day. And he goes, I don't know. Maybe they'll see me at New You 483 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And she goes, maybe they will. So she knows that he knows a lot more than...
And before all that, like, when they first get to the cathedral, this little girl comes up to her and steals her bracelet, and she's very charming and cute.
One
and,
of the cubs.
And really smart. And I was hoping that logo would show up in the...
Come on, man. You're jumping the... Yes, but I can see that. Okay.
Yeah, but...
She doesn't...
No, and the baby either.
So they go to New You 483 or wherever.
Yeah, so they go to get his face changed.
Where they meet.
They show up, and guess who the receptionist is?
And you freaked out.
I was like, oh, Farrah Fawcett. Total crush on Farrah Fawcett.
She was actually Farrah Fawcett Majors by this point. She married Lee Majors. She's billed as Farrah Fawcett Majors.
Right.
Who's the receptionist at the New You.
I religiously watched Charlie's Angels when I was a kid. Absolutely loved her. I loved. You
were pretty excited when I didn't tell you she shows up.
I know. I was like, oh, Farrah Fawcett. Okay, so...
You almost said that with religious fervor.
I just feel bad because she died the same year that Michael Jackson died, and nobody even mentioned her at the Oscars or anything when they do the memoriam.
Well, now you just mentioned them both.
Yeah, no, I was kind of sad because they just completely... And she died like she had cancer, and she suffered.
She did suffer.
It was very sad. She didn't want to die.
She plays Holly.
But anyway,
her character's name is Holly.
Right.
And she works for Doc. Because they couldn't come up with a better name than Doc.
Doc.
But Doc,
Doc is a plastic surgeon who has these lasers that...
And they're all part of this clandestine organization to help runners.
He is part of the Ankh Society.
And finding out that he's like he's never had a Sandman before.
Right, and he does not trust this Sandman dude.
But he is going to do the operation legit. And then he gets a phone call.
Right when they're starting this surgery.
He gets a phone call, and clearly this clandestine people that Jessica was taking him to meet, they don't know that he went and got a runner. So they don't know what's up.
Right.
They're just like, you got to kill this guy.
Right.
And so Doc uses this awesome laser weapon that can reshape someone's body instantaneously. And let's face it, the special effects in this movie, even though it won an Academy Award for visual effects, this movie to me, it looks like it was made in the 1950s, even though it wasn't.
Yes.
It looks like it was made in the 1950s. Most of the visual effects look like they're from the 50s. The matte paintings, the lasers.
The effects
so even though it was made in the middle of the 70s, you want to think laserium, and it's like 70s future chic. I've always found that this movie came out a year before Star Wars, which changed everything. But this film still, to me, looks like a period piece that was made in the 50s.
Yeah, it really does. Especially when they're later on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So
Anyway.
there's a big fracas.
Yeah, so there's a big commotion. The laser goes berserk, and
Big fight.
there's a huge fight. They push Farrah Fawcett out of the way so she doesn't get hurt. And then
Logan escapes. Doc winds up on the table getting
they're fighting.
cut apart.
He pins the doctor in the bed of the laser thing, and the doctor gets all chopped up.
Everything explodes, and Logan and Jessica flee.
They flee.
And Jessica says, "We have to go this way. We have to go through the love shop."
Right, because now she totally trusts him.
She totally trusts him.
And so she takes him through the secret door, which is through...
No. Let's talk about the love shop first.
Well, we are.
Because I thought that Life Force had boobage. But Logan's Run, when I was 9 years old, it was the first time I saw monster boobs on the screen.
Well, not only boobs, but they're like
men's asses, undulating bodies.
Like,
I mean, this is a full-on...
bow wow.
It's an orgy store.
It is.
They're going through... and that pink gas we've seen
and
early
then,
on.
they go in there, and, first of all, she walks in, and all these guys come and, take her, and, all these women come and,
Grab him.
Yeah,
and they're being pulled apart, wrenched apart. and suddenly, Francis is following, because this big ruckus has caused... and Francis is following them through the love shop.
Right. So they finally get away from these...
I just want to say, as a 9-year-old kid, this scene put a huge smile on my face.
Did you even know what you were looking at?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I was a big fan of boobs, even back then. And it was great. And I was sitting next to my mom, because I begged my mom to take me. My mom took my sister and I. I'm sitting next to my mom, and the screen was gigantic, and it was like 70 millimeter. And you've got the Jerry Goldsmith score, and the music's going, wow, wow, wow. It was this just awesome, futuristic sex music with sex gas. The liquid, the gaseous...
The ecstasy. Liquid ecstasy.
And just hot men and women, and they're all hot and sweaty. I mean, if Frankie Goes to Hollywood's Relax had come out before then, it came out later, but in the next decade, they would have played it. Instead of in Body Double, they would have used Relax in the Love Shop. And if you remake Logan's Run, if anybody remakes Logan's Run, they must use Frankie Goes to Hollywood's Relax. But anyway... They get
so
through...
they finally get away from these horny people, and they go towards the back of the shop
where there's a secret door.
There is a secret door, and she takes him through the secret door, and the door closes before Francis even realizes what happened.
Right, and he doesn't know where they disappeared to.
Right. So they go in there, and
then they're going up to the secret where these people are. They're going up to where...
Are we to that part already?
Yeah.
Well, that happened fast. Okay.
Yeah, they're going... So, and what does Logan do before he gets there?
Oh, this asshole.
He signals.
He tells the other Sandmen where they are.
He signals Deep Sleep headquarters.
What the hell?
With his location.
At this point, I'm hoping that he just wants to survive and escape.
No.
But no!
He's still working for the man.
No! I was pissed at that point. I was like, Logan, you suck.
Well, he gets in there and he meets the people.
So they get in there and the people are like, who are you? And they've got these spears that...
They're shooting like
blow
liquid
out.
nitrogen on
Yeah.
their face to torture them.
Was that what that was? Anyway, so they got these spears with nitrogen in them. And they're questioning them. And they still don't trust the Sandman. And then he says the right thing.
Well, they bring Holly in.
Oh, yeah, Holly. That's right. Holly comes in. She's all scuffed up. And she is like, that's them. That's them. They killed the doctor.
They killed Doc.
Yeah, they killed Doc, and that's them. Like, they're bad. They're bad. He's a Sandman. They're evil. And then Jessica's like, no, don't you remember? He is a good Sandman, and the bad Sandman came to try to kill him. Do you remember that? You remember that, right, Jessica? Are you right, Holly? You remember that?
And she says, oh, yeah.
She's like,
And what did you say when we were watching?
What did I say?
You said she's leading the witness.
Yeah, I was like,
She's leading
I
the
was like,
witness.
objection. She's leading the witness. But anyway, Holly's like, oh yeah, you're right. And that's when they're like, yeah, okay, we trust this dude.
So they
Bad
basically
decision.
they tell him where to go. You know, you have to go
So they're like, go all the way down the hall and
and keep going down.
keep going until you reach a wall, and then
You'll get instructions.
there'll be a door to the outside.
And then after they get all this, and they're about to start on their way, a wall explodes, and the Sandmen, the SS shock troop Sandmen, come
Yep.
pouring through.
They come
guns
through.
ablazing. Their DS pistols are.
Yep.
They're killing
They're
everybody.
shooting everyone. Yeah.
The entire clandestine runner network is being destroyed by the Sandmen.
Yeah, and then Logan kills a Sandman, and I'm like, okay, dude, like, choose your side.
Well, he didn't
Come on,
mean to.
man.
He didn't mean to. He's deep undercover. Now, if this was like Serpico or To Live and Die in L.A., it would have been a friendly fire incident. He didn't mean to kill the guy, but the guy was about to kill him. It was kill or be killed, and he wants his life back. He did what he had to. You can't.
I think he's
you can't-
conflicted.
You can't diss. No, he didn't mean to kill that Sandman. He had to do it in the fog of war. In the fog of war.
Okay.
Just saying. Go ahead. So.
He's still a dick. Anyway, they go. Let's see. Yeah, so all this fighting is happening, and they run towards the secret door, and Francis follows them. Or there's a thing between him and Francis, and he's wait, what happens?
Well,
between
Francis.
him
No,
and
Francis is.
Francis confronts him, and he's like, dude, I wasn't even going to say anything that you let that runner go. Why are you doing this?
Right, and Logan still does not.
And Logan can't tell him I'm on a secret mission because Jessica's standing right there. She's like, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. Let's escape. And so he shoots at his friend.
Right, and then leaves, and they run away, and they get to the last door where they have to use their key, which is the Ankh.
This part, like,
Okay,
come on, man. He's got an Ankh in his pocket, but no, he takes Jessica's Ankh off her neck. It's the key that they need to get through the door.
Look, they're trying to build
He
suspense.
takes the Ankh off of her neck, and they're like fumbling, and they drop it in this puddle.
And Francis is running down the corridor.
It's not even a deep puddle. They could have just reached down and grabbed it, but no. They're like, oh, you have one in your pocket. So he takes the one out of his pocket and uses it to get out of the door, and they leave the Ankh in the water.
Well,
I was like,
can't find it, and he pulls. They gotta go. The time is of the essence.
Yeah.
Francis is
Right.
bearing down on them.
leave a key for the next guy to come through. So anyway, they go through the door, and they end up in this frozen...
Well, they end up underneath the city. They go underneath the
that's right,
city.
right.
And there's pipes, and it's cold, and they see that there's fish tanks and all kinds of
Yeah,
things.
it's under the water because you see fish like swimming.
Well,
in
it's like there's aquariums. I mean, this
Yeah.
used to, and Logan realizes
I
that
think
this
it's
is
under the ocean.
This is a part of the city that is not used. Yeah, it's probably it's under the city's built on the ocean,
Right.
but it's not a part. It's a part of the city that's been abandoned. It's not used anymore, which is why it's a conduit for these runners, and they keep going. But then Francis shows up at the door, and
Francis
he also finds
the Ankh in the puddle.
So he goes through as well.
He comes
and
through.
They're chasing each other still, but
He's chasing them, and then he like shoots out this glass window, and all the water comes rushing in, and they're like drowning at this point, and the water is coming up and up and up, and they finally get through a door, shut the door, end up on this giant elevator, and he is so tired that he leans on the handle,
and it takes him straight up.
and the elevator goes up, 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 up. And then they end up at the top and come out to this winter wonderland.
An ice cavern.
Yeah.
And suddenly we're in like a different movie.
Yeah.
We're in this.
Yeah,
this
it's like
giant,
a different movie now.
And there are these ice sculptures.
We're in the North Pole.
Of sea lions and walruses
Yeah.
and penguins and like this beautiful winter wonderland.
Yeah, it felt like those Christmas specials. What were those slow stop motion?
Yeah, it does. And again, here's another great moment. Because their clothes are wet and they're freezing, they decide to take off their clothes because they find like bear skin.
There's like furs and stuff, and so like, let's take off our clothes.
And you get more Jenny Agutter boobage. And since she's the since she's the star of the movie and she's so beautiful, and I hadn't seen Walkabout yet, Nicholas Roeg's Walkabout, so I didn't know. But as a 9-year-old boy, even though you only get a glimpse, in my mind, it lasted for 20 minutes. But in the movie, it lasts for maybe 5 seconds, if that, not even that.
She takes her dress off. You see her boobs. She puts on the
and her ass.
the blanket. Okay, and
Fantastic.
then at the end of the
Fantastic.
scene, they put all their clothes back on. So that was only to show her boobs.
Thank God for Michael Anderson. God love the director for doing that. Because my 9-year-old self, and, you know, I probably had stirrings in my loins, but I was sitting next to my mom, but I still was enjoying what was on the giant 70mm screen. It really left an impression.
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
And then what happens?
Okay, so this robot shows
Box.
up.
Roscoe
Box.
Lee Brown.
This robot comes and he's like talking about fish and plankton
And sea greens.
sea greens and
Protein from the sea.
Protein from the sea. And he's going on and on and on about fish and protein and...
Because that was his job. His job was to freeze food to be used later.
Right, okay.
But apparently he's been abandoned and cut off. He's been there for a long time.
And they're like, well, where are the other people? And he's like, oh, come over here. And he brings them to this hallway with everyone frozen.
All of the missing runners.
Yeah. They're all frozen with their hands up like this.
And Box says, well, I stopped getting the food, and then they started coming.
But by the way, they're all completely naked. So at some point, they took their clothes off before he froze them.
Well, maybe because he doesn't, look, everyone says that Box is like this evil robot. He's just doing what he was programmed to do.
Right, but he wasn't programmed to take their clothes off.
Well, no, he was, because you can't, animals and fish and sea greens and plankton, they don't have clothes. So he had to be.
Right.
He probably
They
said,
don't have clothes.
and he was kind of this nice, jovial, jocular robot. He was a kind of a fun guy. He was kind of nice and poetic.
Yeah, when he talked, you could see the man's mouth.
Come on, man.
It was a man in a robot suit.
It was Roscoe Lee Brown. I don't know if he was actually in the suit.
He was, because when he talked,
I don't know, but was that Roscoe Lee Brown, or did Roscoe Lee Brown just do the voice? I don't know.
I don't know, but there was a dude in there.
So anyway, Logan learns that there is no sanctuary here. He learns all of the unaccounted for runners have been frozen in this gigantic matte painting.
They're frozen naked.
You know.
By the way, naked, frozen naked.
More boobage. More
boobs.
naked, frozen boobs.
Yes, frozen boobs.
So.
Yeah.
So then what happens?
Okay, so then
he comes to freeze them.
He does, and they freak out, and Logan is like, oh no, and he's like, hop.
He uses his gun, and
he like...
And then
he
your
fights
favorite
him.
special effects of the movie happens.
Oh my god! So they go back into that room, and where there's like frozen, statues and whatever. And everything starts falling down, and then the really bad special effects. It's like really bad.
Bad superimposition. It wasn't good.
It was so bad.
But it doesn't matter because it's awesome.
It was pretty funny.
The verisimilitude.
It was so bad.
It's shaky.
So
not
bad.
good.
Shaky.
It's
It was
good.
like
not good verisimilitude.
really bad.
It wasn't good.
Really bad.
Not good.
Really bad.
Doesn't matter. Does not diminish my love of this movie. But so keep going. Then what happens?
Okay, so they leave this frozen place.
Mm-hmm. And
they end up outside.
Yeah.
And they see the sun, and the sun is setting, and they're like, "Woo, what is that?" And they're like, "I don't know."
But Box is destroyed. Everything collapses, and they go out and they walk out in the sun. And by the way, an awesome piece of Jerry Goldsmith music.
Right.
When they emerge, and it's built up, and then this is just great Goldsmith crescendo over the sun.
Was the music when they were in the dome? Was it the same person that did the rest of the music?
Yeah, because the music has...
Because in the dome, it was like this weird synth music.
Not weird, awesome.
Weird.
Awesome synth music. But yes, and now it transitions into a much more... when you go to the sun, a much more symphonic traditional score.
Right. And I was like, okay, I'm done with that music. So... the sun is setting. They get warm anyway. They're
outside.
They're outside, and they're like, "What is out? We're outside. Whoa, this is weird." So they start going through the brush, and they're walking and walking and walking, and finally, like, she's exhausted. She's like, "I don't like the outside."
A lizard grows up her dress.
He's like, "I hate outside." I thought that was funny.
Well, and then what happens?
Okay, so they keep walking, and they see an obelisk.
Which we know what it is.
Yeah.
It's the Washington Monument.
So she's like, is that sanctuary? Did we find sanctuary?
Washington, D.C. is decidedly not anyone's sanctuary. Especially lately. But that's what they find. They find Washington, D.C.
They do, and they start walking towards Washington, D.C.
And they find the Lincoln Memorial.
They do, and they're like, whoa, is that what old people look like?
I mean, it's got that great moment where they're looking at him, they're talking about his face. They've never seen an old person. And there's the great line when Michael York, his delivery is great. That must be the look of being old. And the great thing is that Michael York still speaks with this great, like, British accent. It's not really British. I mean, he's tamped it down a little bit, but...
Well, she also has a British accent.
Which is crazy. They're in a dome city in the United States somewhere, but they're speaking with a British accent.
How did
it
they
doesn't
all
matter.
get a British accent?
Richard Jordan doesn't have a British accent.
Have a British accent, too?
No.
I hate when that happens.
It's a multi-ethnic, it's a frothy mix.
Because they had to show you that Logan was smart and that Francis was not so smart.
By the way, I have to, like, point out, and I'm gonna say right away, I'm gonna point this out. I hate to say this, but I need to say it because it even bothered me when we were watching this. This movie is decidedly not woke.
It was made in the 70s.
I understand that, but it's a little white even for me.
Oh, because everyone's white.
Everyone's white in this movie, like not just white, but like horrible perms white, like the worst kind of white people.
There were no perms.
No, there was terrible hair in this movie. There was good Farrah Fawcett hair, but I'm just going to say,
Farrah Fawcett.
It's never bothered me before, but this time, you know, in the future, what I want to see is a startling mix of races. I want to see Milan, you know, like like in The Expanse, everybody's multi-ethnic.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, you know, it is Washington D.C.
But I have to say, this film is fair to old people.
It is not ageist. I will say that.
There you go.
Anyway, it's just something that struck me when I was watching it tonight.
They all have like blue eyes and
man, this is like the weird Aryan Nazi future. I don't know.
I don't like that either.
I would have thought with this intermixing of everybody going to the love shop and all that, we would have had a blend of
because even
humanity.
Valley of the Dolls was racially mixed.
Yeah, there's not a lot of, and I don't like that. I think I would have expected a lot of like people like Halle Berry in the future.
And other people.
I mean, just as an example.
Halle Berry is mixed.
That's what I'm saying. You would have everybody should actually in this future should be mixed.
Oh, they should all
be mixed. Everybody should have been intermixed. Yeah, the entire future. If I remade this movie, there would be no just white people.
Right, everyone would be mixed
together.
All
the actors would be mixed. There would not be one ethnically perfect person. I would have a mix of everybody.
I like that.
Because that's what the future would be, especially in a hermetically sealed place like this.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because if there's British people, why aren't there be people from all over the world?
Exactly.
And I understand it's a British director, but I get it. But it seemed a little weird. Just saying. And it's Washington D.C.
It's
like, come on, man.
Come on, man.
I know. I'm just saying.
Rude.
I never thought that Logan's Run would bother me because it wasn't really ethnically balanced. But this time it bothered me.
I can see that.
Just saying. I don't want to be like pandering. Everyone's going to be like, oh, Rob's a social justice warrior. No. I am looking for my verisimilitude in my future, in my hermetically
right. Like,
sealed.
this is like 200 years from now.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
300 years from now.
It did bother me upon this viewing of this movie for the very first time. I was like,
I think in 300 years we will
where's
all
Chrissy
be blended.
Teigen in this future? That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bothered
Bothered me.
Well,
Bothered
we should
me.
remake it.
If I remake it, no white people are going to be in this movie.
No, it'll all be
It's going to be
mixed.
all mixed.
I like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the movie.
Washington, D.C. So where they find their way to the Capitol.
So they walk to the Capitol, and they go into some buildings, and they hear a noise, and they go into the room. A cat runs out the door, and they're like, whoa.
By the way, this is our longest plot outline of a movie ever. Just so you know, it's our longest.
God.
It's our longest plot outline ever.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's worth it. We're gonna go long. It's Friday night. I only wish we had a second bottle of wine because this movie just demands a second bottle of wine.
Okay, let's get through the movie. So they go into the room and they discover that there's a person.
There's cats.
There's a million cats. They don't even know what cats are. There's a person there, and he's old. And they walk up to him and they're like,
It's Peter Ustinov as the old man.
The old man. He doesn't even remember his name. He's lonely.
And they've never seen an old man before.
They've never seen an old man. They're like shocked. They're like, your hair is white.
And do the cracks on your face hurt?
Yeah, do your crack? Can I touch them? I thought that was cute.
Another old white British dude.
All right. You're right.
It's kind of weird. Like when you think, I get it. It's Michael
Okay,
Anderson.
well, it needs to be remade then. Okay. Let's just get through the movie. Francis, in the meantime, has followed them through. Because he found the Ankh key in the water. And follows them through, and he has followed them to the Capitol, and
by the way, Peter Ustinov has to be a big Cats fan, because he's spouting the same source material that they use for Cats.
Okay.
See, McCavity, all
I
that.
kept thinking, why cats? Why not dogs? Dogs are man's best friend.
Cats have 3 names.
Right. Okay. He goes through this whole thing. It's like this long scene where he's talking about cats have 3 names. I'm like, okay.
Which is all very famous poetry.
I'm like, where are the dogs? Like, dog is man's best friend.
Well, it could have been like a plague like they had the simian plague in Planet of the Apes, but it killed all the dogs but left the cats.
That is, no. Life should not be like that. I'm sorry.
But you love cats.
I do love cats, but there also should be dogs. Because I love dogs, too.
Well, maybe the cats had something to do with that. I love dogs. So anyway, what happens?
Anyway. We're dragging this out, aren't we?
I think we should just finish this quickly.
We should. Okay.
Francis finds them.
shows up.
There's a fight.
They start fighting because he cannot compute. Does not compute.
He can't. None of this computes with him. He
Even
doesn't get it. And they fight to the death.
There's a fight, and he ends up killing Francis.
And he dies. He dies in Logan's arms, but not before seeing Logan's
crystal, which turned clear.
And he says, "You've renewed."
You've
renewed. And then he dies.
So he dies thinking that they're renewed.
Yes, that's what he dies. And then Logan and Jessica, Logan can't live with himself. He has to go back.
Yeah, he's like, we can't leave all those people in the
lies
dome.
of society, it's terrible. And they take the old man with them.
He's like, they're like, come with us. There's thousands of people, and they're all young. And he's like, oh, okay.
So they go back to the Dome City, and they leave the old man because he can't go into the water.
He can't go under the water. So they go into the city. And
they go to a carousel place where all the people...
and they're like, don't do it. Don't go in there.
Carousel is a lie.
It's a lie. And, of course, these Sandmen come and take them away. And then they put Logan in the Halley chair. And
Halley has to interrogate Logan. He's come back from his mission. He actually succeeded. He succeeded in his mission. He found out the truth.
And she can't take the truth. Halley cannot take the truth. So she interrogates him, and she just cannot. He kept saying, "There's no sanctuary. There's no sanctuary."
There is. They used There's great hologram technology circa
Yeah.
1976, and there is no sanctuary.
It reminded me of the ride at Disneyland in the Haunted Mansion.
It is like that. Yeah.
That's what it
It was
reminded
the
me
height
of.
of 1976
That's what it
holographic
reminded
technology.
me of. I'm like, I'm in the Haunted Mansion, which I miss Disneyland. I want to go to Disneyland.
Well, yes,
Anyway, so she can't take the truth. She cannot handle the truth. Hallie explodes. And then everything...
He pulls a James Kirk. He basically talks the computer to death.
Right.
His mind freaks the computer out, and he dies. And Hallie dies. And the whole city goes to hell.
Then everything starts exploding.
Because she controls the whole city.
Right. So Hallie is like, can't take it. She explodes, and everything starts exploding. And then all the people escape. Here's the part that I didn't like. They left that little girl
In Cathedral,
and they left the babies.
Oh yeah,
You would think, like,
this
'cause
is very
they-
funny. This is Elizabeth freaked out when this happened. So as a mother of two,
Yeah, plus the whole way back to the city, the Dome City, they're like talking about what is husband, what is wife. Oh, and then they decide that they're husband and wife. It's like,
no,
okay.
I thought this was a great observation. I have actually, for the 100 times I've seen this movie, I never thought of this, and you were so upset.
I was
'Cause
so mad.
The movie opens with nursery.
It opens with nursery, and then they forget the babies.
And you never see the babies. So the babies were all
Plus,
incinerated.
they spend a lot of time on this little girl, this cute little girl in the cathedral, and at the end, who
A
cares?
very interesting observation. I've never heard
Which-
anybody, and I've read a lot about this movie, no one has ever said
Well,
anything about that ever
Here's
before.
how I think about it. They were talking about being husband and wife and being a family. You would think that they would come out of the city
Well-
with the little girl and the baby. But
If
no.
Logan's Run was made today, that would have been one of the first studio notes you would have got. Like, can't Logan and Jessica go to Cathedral and get that little girl out, and she becomes their proxy girl?
Exactly.
She's like, that would have been the first studio
and
note.
Logan number 7.
Yeah, they get Logan number. Yeah.
That's his child.
Right. It's his child. Do you know who his seed mother was? No. He doesn't know who he screwed, but he knows that's his baby.
That's his baby.
That's his baby.
But no, at the end, they're
I
just
have
happy to
say,
see the old
Elizabeth,
man.
that's why we do this show together. This is a very astute observation
Come on,
you've
man.
made.
Come on, man. You don't leave the babies behind. Damn it.
So the city goes to hell. Everything's exploding, and all the people pour out.
All the people pour out. They're happy to see the old man, which really warmed my heart.
Right, and it's a great moment.
It is. It's beautiful.
And you don't hear it because the music's playing. Another great piece of Jerry Goldsmith music. The crescendo of this movie is this soundtrack
Yeah.
is awesome. And
Well, the first part is like
it's
really
all
weird
awesome.
synth
It's
music.
all awesome. It's all
But
awesome.
at the end, the music is very lovely.
By the way, this vinyl was really difficult to get for a kid in the late 70s. It was a really hard... They did not publish, apparently, a lot of this on... You can get it now. You can get a beautiful double disc colored vinyl soundtrack album, and Lucas Kendall put out an incredible version of this. It's great.
Cool.
So, what did you think? Okay. So, Logan and Jessica are embracing. The old man is surrounded by people, and the movie's over.
Well, they're married because they
and
decided
they
were
never
husband
made
and
the
wife.
sequel. They never made Logan's World or the third movie, Logan's Search. And by the way, what I don't like about this is it's actually Heather Menzies on the cover. It's not Jenny Agutter. And that always bothered me because Heather Menzies does not... She's like the low rent... No offense to Heather Menzies. She was the low rent Farrah Fawcett Majors. She was no Jenny Agutter.
Well, why would they do that?
Because she was on the TV show at the time.
TV show.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, just a pet peeve. So, Elizabeth, what did you think of Logan's Run?
Okay. I really liked this movie. I really liked it. I really liked it. There were things that were weird and quirky, and come on, man, leaving the babies, that really bothered me.
I know.
And the whole racial thing, like you just brought up, like, yeah, damn it, they were all white.
Yeah, I mean,
despite that,
with bad hair, there's a lot of bad hair in this movie.
I don't remember bad hair.
Jenny Agutter has sort of good neutral hair.
Yeah, I mean, it was 70s hair, which is really cool.
I'm just saying.
Come on, Farrah Fawcett.
That's true.
Farrah faucet.
So go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I really like this film.
I love this movie.
Yeah. I think it's great. I think it's good.
My 9-year-old self thought this was the most profound, interesting movie I'd ever seen. It was Star Trek. It was Twilight Zone. It was Planet of the Apes. It was everything that I loved, all rolled into one.
Well, when they came out into the world, and then they jump into the river and they're swimming, I'm like, uh-oh, is this becoming like Blue Lagoon? Are they gonna like discover like how to have babies and build a tree house and and then later on I was like, is this gonna become like Planet of the Apes? Where are the apes? Are the apes gonna show up?
It's true. I mean, there's a lot of all of that.
I can see how this influenced a lot.
Well, I mean, this was totally... Look, the one thing that a lot of people don't get now is that before, every 70s movie that was pre-Star Wars was somehow sort of dystopian, science fiction films. I mean, Rollerball, A Boy and His Dog, The Ultimate Warrior, The Omega Man, Soylent Green, the latter half of the Planet of the Apes franchise, Silent Running, Clockwork Orange. I mean, there was a slew of films from the late 60s to 1976, this being the last one. Fantastic Planet, which you love. Animated.
Do. I love that film.
All literally dystopian science fiction. That's all
true.
it was.
I
And
kind of like that.
This was this big budget, version of dystopian sci-fi. Star Wars killed all of that dead. Dystopian science fiction went away.
Well, that's sad. I'd like to see more.
Well, no, it came back. I mean, Blade Runner, it did come back. But I mean, this healthy, like you were saying, the never trust. I mean, the book was written, Sandman, leave my door, don't come back here anymore. I mean, if you read the book, in the book, it's 21, not 30.
Whoa.
You die at 21.
Whoa.
You die at 21. And the whole thing was about never trust anyone over 30, and it's all...
Oh, my God.
And if they remake... Actually, Bryan Singer was going to remake this movie and came a long way, and you do see what happens at Karis.
Really? He was going to remake this?
Oh, my God. Chris McQuarrie wrote the script. It was very, very far along in the process. And you actually see what happens to the bodies in Carousel.
See, I want to see a remake of this.
It was one of my favorite things that was in the Chris McQuarrie, Bryan Singer version of Logan's Run was when the bodies come up to the top, is that all the bodies are like taken in and they're immediately stripped and ripped apart and put down into their component parts. Every single bit of the human body is recycled and used.
Ew.
It was awesome. It was it was so awesome. It's great. It's too bad that version didn't get made. I liked it a lot. Anyway,
yeah, I like this film.
what about this film? What else can you say? I mean, we should jump in. There's been a lot of people writing in about a lot of people who want to.
Well, let's read some chats.
Let's okay. We'll read. Let's go back and we'll read some chats here. We've got. All right. So hang on. Oh, you know who's here? Midnight Sedge After Dark. Hang on. Let's go in so everybody can see these.
You missed one right there.
Hang on. No, that's the Richard says all mods are here at once.
Yeah, I know, but
no, Midnight Sedge After Dark.
Yeah.
Midnight's Edge, how are you, sir? I'm still curious, what kind of sorcery is this? When did Tobe Hooper direct a 1985 version of Logan's Run? I forgot to change. Oh, you know what?
Come on, man.
I know. I made a mistake.
That's embarrassing.
It didn't render the new title out. You know what? I didn't notice. I'll fix it.
You should fix it.
I'll fix it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Timbula the Spider Monkey, Tim is here, sends in a super chat and says, as someone who was in their 40s, I'm glad I didn't live in a Logan's Run world. But if I got to spend my last days with Jenny Agutter, it could be worth it. I agree. I mean, you still see her now in movies. And yeah, yes, I agree. I'm a huge fan of hers. She was the first actress I was madly in love with as a 9-year-old kid. It was Nichelle Nichols, Lieutenant Uhura, was my first love. She was my first love. When I saw her exposed midriff in Mirror Mirror, I was like, that's the woman that I didn't understand racism or anything. I thought Nichelle Nichols was the most beautiful creature I'd ever seen, and she was on the Enterprise.
That is very cool.
Jenny Agutter was the second.
Oh. From this film?
And Farrah Fawcett Majors. It was tough, but Jenny Agutter, yeah. So Nichelle Nichols and Jenny Agutter were my first true loves. Kaz Graphics is here. Wow, Kaz, that's very generous of you, sir. Thank you.
Wow, thank you.
By the way, he'd sent us something that did not arrive because of the police action.
Right, our whole street is blocked off.
It was blocked off. That no one was let in.
Yeah, I actually had to walk down to the end of the block to get Zoe to come in.
Yeah. Kaz Graphics says, "Oh my God, Farrah Fawcett in this one is the earliest film that I can recall in my childhood memories. The colors at the time are amazing. Star Wars came out about a year later. After that, the bar for special effects stepped up. I still love this movie." Yes, Kaz, I do too. Like I said, it looks like it was made in the 50s. But you know what? I love this movie. This movie opened my mind. I saw it on a gigantic screen. I begged my mom to take me to see this.
Yeah.
And she did. She took me opening night.
Yeah, and Farrah Fawcett's in it. Like, come on, man.
And I told you the story. When I saw this movie, it was a double bill. It was playing... The second movie was Fantastic Planet. So we watched Logan's Run. Yes. And Fantastic Planet played in about...
That's an interesting pairing.
About
I like
10
that.
minutes in, my mom said, "I will not sit here and watch a movie where human beings are treated like ants." Because remember, they kill the mother in the beginning and they steal the baby?
Yes.
And I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. My mom took me away.
You didn't get to watch it?
Nope. It took me years before I could see Fantastic Planet again.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's intense. Did you give me more wine?
There's no more. Yeah, I gave you more wine.
Oh, okay.
We're out.
I don't remember you pouring me more.
I did pour you more. I did. We're out. We're out of wine. I mean, maybe we should do two. We're already past our... This is going to be a long episode.
Yeah, okay. So I better make this little bit last.
Good evening. Jerome Morgan sends... Oh, Jerome, that's incredibly generous of you, sir. Thank you so much. Jerome says, "Good evening, Rob and Elizabeth. I'm enjoying tonight's show with a nice glass of Glenlivet. Any Glen, as they said in the movie Swingers. Any Glen. That is a fine drop, sir. Logan's Run is one of my favorite movies. What are the chances of you reviewing another of my fave, The Lathe of Heaven?"
I don't know that.
Jerome. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong camera. I should be looking at this camera. Hang on. Let's go back to... Well, then people can't see, but hang on. We should go back to this camera.
That's okay.
I have to say it's important. Jerome, The Lathe of Heaven is one of my favorite science fiction movies of all time. George Orr, Bruce Davidson, Kevin Kalis. Can you believe it? When Kalis came back on TNG, was played by Dr. Haber. I love... If you guys haven't seen The Lathe of Heaven, The Lathe of Heaven was made by PBS. It came out in 1979. It was shot by Robbie Greenberg, who shot Free Willy. And I was the producer's assistant on Free Willy, and when he came in the door, I was all a quiver, because I was like, oh my... When I said to him, I freaked out. I'm like 22 years old, 23 years old or something. I'm working on Free Willy, and this DP walks in. Director of photography. The DP walks in, and I'm like, oh my God, I was so excited to meet Robbie Greenberg. I'm like, you shot The Lathe of Heaven. I love The Lathe of Heaven so much. That's a really good thing. Is it was made for TV. And I'll tell you something.
Do you have it?
I do have it. Problem with The Lathe of Heaven is it has a Beatles song in it, and they swapped it out for when they put it on a home video for a sound-alike, which I can't abide. But anyway, Jerome, I mean this sincerely. You and I, my friend, park our shuttlecrafts in the same shuttle bay.
Is that our next movie?
No. Throg says he has nothing to add. He sends in a tip and says, "I have nothing to add."
Oh, what does that
Throg,
mean?
how can you have nothing to add?
Nothing to add?
How can you have nothing to add, man?
What, do you agree completely?
Anthony Gonzalez is here, our boy Anthony. Anthony says, speaking of Logan's Run, Robert, I've never heard you speak on what you think of THX 1138. I know it was originally George's student film for EB. And Elizabeth, have you seen Gattaca?
I have not.
You haven't seen Gattaca with Ethan Hawke? Yes, I think I've shown it to you. Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke, the genetically...
Oh, yes, I have seen that.
And you like Gattaca.
I love that movie.
You love Gattaca. I love Gattaca, too. I just love that Jerome brought up The Lathe of Heaven. Jerome, I cannot... I'll tell you... Okay, can I just digress because he brought it up?
Yeah.
And he's very generous. So, The Lathe of Heaven aired on PBS, and when I saw it, I loved it. All right? It aired in 79. I got my first VCR for my bar mitzvah in May of 1980. And I went to summer camp, the Flying Horseshoe Ranch, which we drove by a year ago, in Cle Elum, Washington. And I remember thinking, when I had a VCR, and I the entire 2 weeks I was at camp, I was thinking, God damn it, if only I'd had my VCR when the Lathe of Heaven aired, I could have taped it and had it on tape. The week I came back from camp, maybe I'm romanticizing it, but soon after I came back from camp, they aired the Lathe of Heaven again, and I taped it. And I had the Lathe of Heaven on videotape from 1980 on. Just so you know.
Do you still have that videotape?
No. I have the DVD.
Well, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and you know what really sucks? They don't know where the negative is. They do not know where the negative is for the Lathe of Heaven. I've looked.
Maybe you should remake it.
It's my favorite. Look who's here. Victory Unlimited shows it. Victory Unlimited shows here. Logan's Run is great. The George Perez Marvel Comics adaptation was also great, which I have. Other movies very similar to it are The Island and Minority Report. I'm a big fan of the Lone Rebel Against a Futuristic Society movie genre. Me too.
Yes.
Hence Victory Unlimited. Hence the iconography of Pink Floyd The Wall. I can't tell. I mean, it looks that way from a distance. It looks like probably not. But yes, I agree. I'm with you 100%. Yeah. I agree. I mean, and The Island, we've watched The Island, actually. So,
what's that about?
It's Scarlett Johansson and...
Oh.
Yeah. They're living in the island, and they're clones, and they want to get off the island.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I like The Island.
Yeah.
You know, people think it's lesser Michael Bay, and it's one of my favorite films that he ever made. Garen Gillam is here. Who are the worst shots, Sandmen or Stormtroopers? Now, you commented on how bad they were shooting at the beginning, but I maintain that they were playing with their prey.
Yeah, once you said that, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so I would say Stormtroopers are horrible shooters.
Yeah, they're bad.
They
they're
never,
worse.
hit their
Sandmen
target.
are playing. Mukbang is here. This reminds me of The Long Walk by Stephen King. Great stories never disappoint. The Long Walk, which, of course, originally a Bachman book written by Richard Bachman. So,
okay.
I'm a big fan of The Long Walk. I want to see that movie made. It's supposed to be getting made. I love The Long Walk. I love it.
I have not
read
it.
It's great. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So, I mean, we're over time, but is there more that you can say about this film?
This was fun. I had a lot of fun with this. They should have saved the babies.
Now, let me ask you this. I mean, obviously, looking at this, how do you feel about the depiction of the future in this? I mean, we've talked about the people, but in terms of everyone living in a dome city, and by the way, this is very different than the book. In the book, there's no dome cities. I mean, there is, but it's global. You can go all over the world.
Okay.
And there is actually a sanctuary, and sanctuary is the moon. Well, it's a space. It's a space. It's different. It's very different. They could remake this movie and adapt the book, and it would be very different.
Well, I mean, it makes sense that if they lived in a dome city, there's only enough room for a certain amount of people. And so it makes sense the carousel and getting rid of people. Like when someone is born, somebody has to die. That makes sense.
Yes. Hang on. I have to say, Timbula Spider Monkey sends in a super chat and says, I can't believe I've never seen The Lathe of Heaven. The book is my favorite of Ursula Le Guin's books. I guess I know what I'm going to be doing the rest of today. There are 2 filmed versions of The Lathe of Heaven. One of them is god-awful and stars James Caan. Do not watch that version. You must watch the version with Bruce Davidson as George Orr. It's on YouTube. You can see it. It's not hard to see. You can watch it. It's awesome, and I love it so.
There you go.
So they didn't rescue the babies. I learned something on this show today about Logan's Run, a movie I've seen 100 times, that I didn't even think about.
Because they go on and about husband and wife and being a family, and we should be a family, but then they don't rescue his own child, plus the little girl that she had a connection with.
You know what? You should be a studio executive because that is a great note. It's a great note. Honestly, as many times as I've watched this movie, it never occurred to me.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
All right, well.
But other than that, I thought this was a good film. It was fun.
Now let me ask you. On our scale, on our
Yes.
bottoms up scale. Oh, hang on. Frog. Frog is a road warrior. Yes, I too worship at the feet of Miss Jenny Agutter. I hope you've seen Nicholas Roeg's Walkabout. That's all I'm saying. She is still beautiful now as she was in the 1970s. I wanted to go to London and get bit by a werewolf, hoping she would be my nurse. She was in An American Werewolf in London.
I saw that film.
I wanted to moon dance with her too. Yes, Jenny Agutter could do no wrong. And you know, she's been showing up in crazy parts in various movies. Look at where she's been lately. She's been pretty great. If you ever watch MI5, or as the Brits know it, Spooks. If you ever watch that show, she's in that show. She shows up. She's around.
That's cool.
Anthony
Yeah,
Gonzalez,
I
man.
recognize her.
Hey, Captain, how much wine were you drinking when you traded Ethan Irwin? What's up?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I will address this.
He explained why he did that, and it made sense to me. But at first I was like, what?
This is a
You
schmodown.
traded Ethan Irwin?
You know what, Anthony? I'm going to answer this question tomorrow on Robservations because everyone's asking me. There is a method behind my madness, but I'll tell you right away.
It makes sense. Trust me.
We've got Inner Geekdom and Star Wars tournaments coming up. And in terms of singles matches and who's going to get what, think about it. I needed another Inner Geekdom player to go along with Warfather, and I needed a great Star Wars player. And I got Ken Knapsack. Everyone's going, what? I'll talk about this more tomorrow.
Yeah, this has to do with Schmodown.
Schmodown. I'll talk about it more. I'm going to save your question for tomorrow. So we come to our bottoms up scale.
Yes, I have a dribble.
Me too. I've kept a dribble for our bottoms up scale. So on a scale of why 4? Why 1 to 4 glasses?
Okay. Our scale is 1 to 4 because there are 4 glasses of wine in a bottle, at least for us.
Right. So we rate movies on a 1 to 4 glass of wine
1 to
scale.
4 glasses of wine.
All right. So Elizabeth, on a scale of 1 to 4 glasses of wine, 4 being the highest, how would you rate Logan's Run?
Whew. Okay, so I'm going to rate this a 3.75.
Ooh, 3.75.
Yeah.
I won't even go that high, and I love this movie.
Oh, I was about to go 3.5, but because I thought you loved it so much.
I do love it so much, but as much as I love this movie, I can still look at it and go, it's not a 4.0, it's not a 3.75.
That's true. But I keep thinking back, like, I foolishly gave Flesh and Blood a 3.75. So I feel like...
Look, as much as I love this movie, there's also nostalgia involved. I only give this movie a 3.
Right, which is why I gave Flesh and Blood a 3.75.
I give it a 3.25 on this, and I love this movie. I put it in Free Enterprise. I love this movie so much. But you have to look back. You have to be honest.
You do have to be honest.
I love this movie with all my
I'm going to
heart.
give it a 3.5. I'm
I
sorry.
love this movie with all my heart, but it's not...
Because that was
I
my
mean,
initial feeling was 3.5.
And you're going to change your vote for me?
No, because
Oh.
then I... No.
By the way, you know, I do have the Blu-ray for Logan's Run, but it does not include a lot of the actual special features that exist, which is a little sad. Because this movie is now considered a lesser movie, where before in the Laserdisc days, this was a contender. But, you know, what are you going to do?
I think it needs to be remade.
Well, they've been trying to remake this movie for 30 years. I mean, I've read... You know who wrote the original draft of this movie? Richard Maybaum from the James Bond franchise. I have Richard Maybaum's scripts for this film.
Oh.
Yeah, and Bryan Singer was remaking this, and it was all prevised. It was a lot of previs. Luke Reichelt says, Elizabeth, you are the femme fatale of fermented fruit.
Whoa. What does that even mean?
Well, fermented fruit would be wine. Right?
Wow, I like that.
I can't tell you what nicknames you can use or what you can't. But I think the femme fatale of fermented fruit. My only objection is, are you a femme fatale and should I fear for my life?
I don't know.
Well,
should you?
I do, actually. I fear for my life. No, I'm just kidding. Today I did. There was a gun battle on our street.
Yeah, that was scary. A guy died on our street.
A guy died, and I saw him.
Yeah, and so did Sophie. Which
your daughter had never seen a dead body before. She saw him.
She should not have to see a dead body,
especially on our street.
On our street.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Not good.
Throg Wolf sends in a tip and says, I met David Naughton at a Scaricon this past October and was able to get him to sign an older copy of American Werewolf. I told him how Hot Dog the movie got me in serious trouble because he got to bag Shannon Tweed. And he said Jenny a Gutter, too, in the movie. Well, maybe American Werewolf. I have a beautiful new Blu-ray that Arrow put out, a box set of American Werewolf. It's great. That movie's so great.
I did see it. I don't remember much of it because I was drinking that night.
Oh, well, we should watch it. It's great. It's great. So, I'm giving this 3.25, but I love this movie. If my heart would give this 4 stars because I love it so much throughout my life, but I have to think about, what
I gave 3.5. I'm going to give 3.5. That's my vote. 3.5.
Garen Gillum says we get to see more of Farrah Fawcett in Saturn 3. Just saying. Farrah plus the helmet that Harvey Keitel's character wears in the beginning of that movie makes it worth it. Saturn 3 is an interesting film. Stanley Donen, who directed Singing in the Rain, directed Saturn 3. It's a science fiction movie. It's Kirk Douglas. Farrah Fawcett Majors, and Harvey Keitel. It's not a great movie.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
It's interesting. Ice Pick Throg says, Rob, I beg you, know where the ice picks are and hide them.
Oh, come on. Come on, man.
I don't know.
It wouldn't hurt you.
You wouldn't?
No.
Oh, that's nice. But you know what? We're going to talk about Basic Instinct when that 4K disc comes out.
Yeah, and then, we should do a double with Don't Fuck with Cats.
Oh, yeah, don't. Yeah, that's so weird.
Yeah.
That's a documentary.
Yeah, but it inspired that serial killer.
We're 18 minutes over on this show.
You don't like that connection, do you?
No, I didn't like that a serial killer
wanted to reenact Basic Instinct.
I didn't like it.
That's what Don't Fuck with Cats is all about.
I wasn't a fan.
It's on Netflix.
Not a fan.
It freaked him out, and me too.
Didn't dig it. I was not happy.
Yeah. He wanted to reenact that film. Sorry, I gave you the punchline, but watch it.
All right. Well.
Anyway.
So, yeah. So, should we bring an end to this? An end to this show?
We shall.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to bring an end to Whining About Movies, episode number 25, Logan's Run. What a fun episode this has been. It was great to watch the movie with you. I'm glad
fun.
You liked it as much as
Save the babies.
Save
That's all I
the
have to
babies
say.
from the Dome City. I
Save
never thought about
the
that.
Babies.
I never, ever thought about that. I just never thought about it. I didn't think about it. I just didn't.
I fully expected at the end they would come out with the babies and the little girl.
I've never thought about that.
Because they focused on that so much. The little girl, they spent a huge amount of time on this little girl.
They did. Yeah, wow. See, you learn something new about your favorite movies all the time. All right, Elizabeth, so where can people find you online?
So, on Instagram, I am EG Belle, Belle. On Facebook, I am Elizabeth Bell, ELYSABETH, BELLE, and same on Twitter.
And that's good.
Yeah.
And that's good. So, where are we now? We're at the end of the episode. What do we say?
So, everyone you meet has a story to tell that you have not heard yet. And all you have to do is listen.
That's right. And?
Have a better night.
Have a better night. We will be back on Monday with...
We have one more super chat.
Uh-oh.
A tip.
No, don't end. No, don't end. It's Friday night.
Look, I'm out of wine.
I'm out of wine, too.
I'm out of wine.
I don't have beer. We don't have much. We don't have many spirits in the house.
I have some hidden gin.
Really?
I hid it.
Well, I'm still worried about my clone trooper if he's okay back there, so I gotta check it out. No, it's fine.
He needs to go to the hospital, which is like right here.
Yeah, it's a hospital. So anyway, we will be back. I'll be back for Robservations tomorrow and Sunday. And we will be back with Elizaviews, whining about movies on Monday.
Monday.
It should be interesting.
Do you know what we're going to watch?
I don't, but you know what? I'm going to do a whole Elizaviews display behind me or something. I'm going to have, because I've got all the movies that we watched. I've kept them here.
Oh, Betty Blue.
Yeah, see, I've kept all the movies here. So, yeah, it's got to be something interesting. Anonymous says, order more. It's not even about that. It's like you're getting beer or booze. You can't even order more anymore until like.
I did put in an order for Naked Wines.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like on a daily basis, you can't. They don't bring you booze before a certain amount of time. I was gonna go get beer, but I couldn't because of the dead person on our street.
Yeah.
Yeah,
really
it was. Honestly, to be honest, it was really harrowing.
It was like really bad.
It was bad. I mean, there was 40
we
cops.
We were in a movie.
It was crazy.
Our street is still blocked off, I think.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Well, may you live in interesting times. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here for Whining About Movies, episode 25, Logan's Run. And I will be... Break out the gin, says Throg. We're being bribed now. The problem is we have to go to a different building.
Yeah, I have to go in the house to get the gin.
Yeah. The Robservatory is a separate...
That's my private gin.
Yeah, it's our private gin. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. This was a fun episode of Whining About Movies, and we will be back on Monday with another movie.
Yes, we will.
That you haven't seen. The Lathe of Heaven is good, though.
Maybe.
It's an interesting thing. I would, yeah. Thank you all for being here. And as always, have a better night.